Okay, Thursday, May 5th. Hey, thanks for joining me. I'm Tom Novak. This is your Novak weather briefing now that's going to take a look at the weekend, and then we're going to focus pretty hard on next week because I think we're going to have quite a bit of warm air that is going to come into the region next week. So, a lot to talk about here. And I'd mentioned in one of my posts that sometimes when the weather pendulum swings, it can swing vigorously. And I think that's going to be the case here over the next 7 days. And we'll get into that. Here's your visible satellite loop now this afternoon. And this is some great news. Look at how the clouds, the stratus clouds, stratocumulus clouds, are breaking up now over central and southern Minnesota. It's been a beautiful day up in northern Minnesota, northwestern Wisconsin. And that dry air is pressing south, and that's what's doing the clearing job here over southern Minnesota. That's going to lead much of Minnesota, in fact, I think all of Minnesota and western Wisconsin, into a beautiful day tomorrow, and that should continue into at least Saturday of this weekend. All right, here are the big changes that are going to be going on. These are what we call the 500 millibar heights in our atmosphere, thicknesses in the atmosphere. And these blue areas are usually areas of inclement weather or upper level or troughs in the atmosphere, and we don't want to be in these blue areas because that's where we get the cold and cloudy weather. And look at where it's located today. It's over Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Missouri. That's kind of cold and damp down in that portion of the United States. Now watch what happens as we go through time. And this is important. That disturbance, that upper level low, continues eastern to the east coast, and then it stops and it starts to retrograde. And you see that here by early and middle portions of next week. That upper level low has actually gone east and then has retrograded back west and southwest. The reason why this is important is because this is going to be a block. It's going to act as a block in our atmosphere. And as this large trough starts to dig out west, it's not going to be able to move east. And in turn, we have a pretty massive ridge that builds over the central, southern, and northern sections of the United States and into southern Canada. This is a real warm bubble of air that I think is going to be over us here through much of next week and probably even later than that. And again, a lot of it has to do with this block in the atmosphere. Watch what happens to temperatures in the lower layers of our atmosphere. It's cool from southern Minnesota on south to Texas today, but watch what happens as we go through time. Look at this weekend. Actually, a beautiful air mass over much of the upper Midwest, especially on Saturday of this weekend. And then as we go into Sunday and then Monday, now this is late Monday. Look at the warm air that is being pumped north. This is warm, humid air from the Gulf of Mexico and the desert Southwest, for that matter, that is surging north even into southern Canada as we get into early next week. And that pattern does not break down. In fact, it stays in place through much of next week. Even as we get into Friday of next week, we have that blocking upper level low over the southeastern United States will not move, and that's going to force air north, warm air north into the upper Midwest, and that's going to set us up not only for warmth and humidity and high dew points, but I think some thunderstorms too. Here's your river of air at 30 to 35,000 feet, the jet stream. There's that system that is going to be pulling off into the eastern sections of the United States. And again, watch it how it stops and actually puts the brakes on and starts to pivot back southwest into the southeastern sections of the United States. Meanwhile, we have a pretty strong jet streak that moves into the Dakotas as we get into next week. I'm going to rewind this real quick because I wanted to show you early next week. Look at the strong jet streak that is moving from southwest to northeast into the Dakotas and northern Minnesota and during the early parts of next week. And whenever you're on the edge of these jet stream winds or these jet streak winds, it's a pretty good area for thunderstorms, especially in the spring and summer. And that's the reason why I'm a little worried about thunderstorm activity, and some of it severe as we go through much of next week. Yes, just a big trough digging into the western half of the United States, and that means warm air for us. So get used to temperatures in the 70s and 80s because I think that's where we're headed. Hey, speaking of early next week, this is Monday evening. These are CAPE values. This is basically energy in the atmosphere that we can tap. And look at how high they are in southern Minnesota and Iowa. Look at this. CAPE values in excess of 5,000 JKGs in Iowa. That just tells you that this has quite a bit of energy here in Iowa that surges north into southern Minnesota on Monday evening. That's going to set us up for the potential for some strong or severe thunderstorms over a good chunk of Minnesota, portions of western Wisconsin, and Iowa, especially as we head into Monday evening. And those Cape Valleys actually hang around for much of next week, especially over southeastern Minnesota and southern and eastern Minnesota. And that means, yes, we're going to be dealing with not only warmth, but thunderstorms. Here's the extended forecast. Look at this. Look at how the temperatures really respond early next week. We get a warm front that pushes through much of Minnesota early next week, and our temperatures, I think, are going to be in the upper 70s and low 80s at least for a good chunk, if not all of next week. And yes, we're going to need to worry about thunderstorms almost every day as from Sunday through Thursday or Friday of next week. The only potentially dry day I think would be Wednesday of next week. Now, of course, this can change, but with the warmth and the humidity around, no doubt there will be the potential for thunderstorms and severe weather. All right, that's your forecast. Hey, thanks for joining me, everyone, and I appreciate the support. Take care and have a great weekend.